From the 10th Avenue Extension, Greater Estate, this is MBN TV. A very good evening and welcome to the Mega News 6. But before, take a look at the headlines.
Mahama vows decisive action to minimize flooding in Accra. In business, President Mahama pledges strategic investment drive for Upper West region. And on the international front, Tehran launches fresh strikes after explosions reported in southern Iran.
My name is Al Samuels. Details of these stories and many more coming out will bring you business and sports and entertainment, as well as going internationally. We start from the local front, where the President, John Dramani Mahama, has reaffirmed his administration's commitment to tackle Accra's persistent flooding, promising stronger investment in drainage infrastructure, stricter enforcement against illegal development, and coordinated measures to reduce the impact of heavy rains on lives and property.
President John Dramani Mahama has pledged decisive action to minimize flooding in Accra, describing the recurring disaster as a major national concern that demands urgent and lasting solutions. The president says government is intensifying efforts to improve drainage systems, desilt major waterways, and strengthen urban planning to reduce the devastating impact of seasonal rains. He also stressed the need for stronger enforcement of building regulations, warning that illegal construction on waterways and poor waste disposal continue to worsen flooding across the capital. The renewed commitment comes as many residents continue to demand permanent solutions to the annual floods that claim lives, destroy property, disrupt businesses, and leave thousands displaced. Government says it will work closely with relevant agencies, local authorities, and communities to implement sustainable flood prevention measures and build a safer, more resilient Accra.
We might not be able to completely eliminate flooding because it's a natural disaster that happens not only in our part of the world, it happens in other areas, but we can minimize it and make its effect less disastrous, like what happened. In this particular case, all countries from Gabon to Cote d'Ivoire reported flooding and some loss of lives. Some much higher than us, and like we Christians say, in everything we give thanks, and we hope that we should be able to work so that we ameliorate the.
And so with the presidency, government spokesperson Felix Kwasi has dismissed calls by the minority in parliament for the removal of the Attorney General over the disbursement of 350 million Ghana cedis for flood relief and also prevention, describing the allegations as baseless and politically motivated.
The government has rejected claims by the minority in parliament demanding the removal of the Attorney General over the management and disbursement of 350 million Ghana cedis allocated for flood-related interventions. Government spokesperson Felix Kwasi says the accusations lack merit and are based on unfounded claims aimed at creating public mistrust. He insists that the funds are being handled through due processes and that government remains committed to ensuring transparency and accountability in the use of public resources. The minority has raised concerns over the release and utilization of the flood funds, calling for investigations and accountability from officials responsible. But the government maintains that every step taken has been in line with established procedures and that efforts are focused on addressing the urgent needs of communities affected by flooding.
Meanwhile, the President, John Dramani Mahama, says his government will pursue reforms to Ghana's chieftaincy succession system to promote transparency, reduce disputes, and address corruption linked to installation of traditional leaders.
President John Dramani Mahama has announced plans to reform Ghana's chieftaincy succession system as part of efforts to strengthen traditional governance and eliminate corrupt practices associated with the selection and installation of chiefs. According to the president, the proposed reforms are intended to enhance transparency, preserve the integrity of customary institutions, and reduce the growing number of chieftaincy disputes that have affected peace and development in several communities. He stressed that traditional authorities remain vital partners in national development and that ensuring a credible, fair and accountable succession process is essential to maintaining public confidence in the institution of chieftaincy. The president also called for collaboration among traditional councils, government agencies, and other stakeholders to develop reforms that respect Ghana's customs while promoting justice, accountability, and national unity.
It's a profound honor for me to welcome Your Royal Majesties and the distinguished delegation of the Upper West Regional House of Chiefs to the presidency this afternoon. Your presence reaffirms the enduring partnership between the institution of chieftaincy and the government of Ghana in our collective pursuit of national development and prosperity. The institution of chieftaincy remains one of the oldest and most respected pillars of our national life, and across the Upper West region, our traditional authorities continue to serve as custodians of our tradition, custodians of our peace, mediators of disputes, and the champions of community development. You've been helping to maintain one of Ghana's most peaceful regions, despite the security challenges confronting parts of the wider Sahel area. No government can successfully transform Ghana without the wisdom, legitimacy, and partnership of our traditional rulers. And so permit me to express my deepest appreciation to the chiefs and people of the Upper West region for the confidence and overwhelming support you extended to myself and the National Democratic Congress during the 2024 general elections. Peace remains the foundation of prosperity, and I commend the Regional House of Chiefs for its role in keeping Upper West as one of Ghana's most peaceful regions amid the instability in the wider Sahel area. But if you look at reports on chieftaincy conflicts, Upper West has among the lowest incidences of chieftaincy conflicts. But like the President of the House of Chiefs said, we should continue and go ahead to codify the succession. Nowadays, the kingmakers have become corrupt, and so even though they know who is the rightful person, a big envelope can change their minds, and then they go and bring somebody who has absolutely nothing to do with the royal family and want to install the person as the leader of the traditional area, and that is what creates the conflicts. And so if we codify the families and the various gates and the rotational succession, we should have more peace in this country than we have seen lately. This administration is deepening decentralization and strengthening metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies. But the true measure of governance is not projects announced, but projects completed. I therefore propose a more structured partnership between the Regional House of Chiefs and the Regional Coordinating Councils, MMDAs, members of Parliament, and the relevant ministries, under which chiefs are periodically briefed on development projects and empowered to monitor implementation and provide feedback.
Away from the Upper West region, we go straight away to the health sector, where the National Health Insurance Authority has intensified efforts to eliminate illegal charges under the National Health Insurance Scheme, warning accredited healthcare providers against demanding unauthorized payment from insured patients.
The National Health Insurance Authority has launched a renewed crackdown on illegal charges imposed on patients under the National Health Insurance Scheme. The authority says some accredited healthcare facilities continue to demand unauthorized payments for services and medicines that are covered by the NHIS, a practice it describes as unacceptable. The NHIS has warned that facilities found engaging in illegal co-payments or other unauthorized fees could face sanctions, including suspension or withdrawal of their accreditation. The authority is also encouraging NHIS members to report any facility that demands unlawful payments stressing that such reports will support efforts to protect patients' rights and improve accountability across the health sector. The latest enforcement measures forms part of the NHI's broader commitment to ensuring equitable access to quality health care and restoring public confidence in the National Health Insurance Scheme.
Now we venture into some partnership with Government of Ghana and the Republic of Korea has signed a $28 million agreement aimed at strengthening science, technology, and engineering, mathematics, STEM education with a focus on improving infrastructure, technical skills, innovation among students.
Ghana and the Republic of Korea have signed a $28 million agreement to boost science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, commonly known as STEM education across the country. The partnership is expected to support the development of modern STEM facilities, enhance technical and vocational training, and equip students with the practical skills needed to compete in a technology-driven global economy. Government says the agreement reflects its commitment to expanding access to quality STEM education and preparing Ghana's young people for careers in innovation, engineering, digital technology, and industrial development. Officials from both countries expressed confidence that the collaboration will deepen bilateral relations while contributing to Ghana's long-term human capital development and economic transformation. The initiative forms part of broader efforts to strengthen the country's education sector and build a workforce equipped for the demands of the fourth industrial revolution.
The Ghana AIDS Commission is calling for a people-centered approach to the HIV prevention and treatment, urging Ghanaians to prioritize counseling, testing, and support whilst rejecting stigma and discrimination against people living with HIV.
The Ghana AIDS Commission is urging the public to put counseling first and reject stigma in the national response to HIV and AIDS. The Commission says fear, discrimination, and misinformation continue to discourage many people from getting tested, seeking treatment, or openly accessing healthcare services. It is encouraging individuals to know their HIV status through regular testing and to take advantage of counseling services that provide accurate information, emotional support, and guidance. The Commission also reminded the public that people living with HIV can lead healthy and productive lives with early diagnosis and consistent treatment and should not face discrimination at home, in schools, workplaces, or within their communities. The renewed appeal comes as health authorities continue efforts to reduce new HIV infections and improve access to treatment and support services across the country.
And that does it for the stories making major headlines on the local front. We're crossing over to the business desk. We'll bring you details of the stories with Na Dede Gogo right after the break.
Mfitiasie no mene me kunu eware wo odro ene asumdwe kwanso da ware na chi no me kwacho ba hotel papa bi say be sepeo. What a chief so crown na maye bibia wo nyankopon sem ekoba ne san me kunu antena se
edro botum wajo eye edek SM bitches
wa eni gia befi we na me de yem bible edek SM bitches timase mama me
so wa worry mu eni je bewe o paya na ye kamfo edek SM bitches mrs wo oye mi yo nyina monno me no okọ one.
Welcome back from the break. This is the business news with me, Na Dede Gogo. In business, President John Dramani Mahama has pledged a renewed investment drive for the Upper West region, promising targeted infrastructure and economic development initiatives to unlock the region's growth potential and improve livelihoods. President John Dramani Mahama has reaffirmed his government's commitment to accelerating development in the Upper West region through strategic public investment. The president says government will prioritize key sectors including roads, agriculture, education, healthcare, water supply and energy to stimulate economic growth and create employment opportunities for residents. He noted that unlocking the region's economic potential requirements, sustained investment in infrastructure, support for local businesses, and policies that promote inclusive development. President Mahama also assured residents that government remains committed to ensuring balanced national development with no region left behind in Ghana's economic transformation agenda. The pledge forms part of government's broader vision to strengthen regional economics, reduce development departures, and improve living standards across the country.
And so with that mandate you gave us, we set to work, and I'm happy to report that we have made significant progress in reviving the Ghanaian economy and turning our fortunes around. Although geographically, Upper West is one of Ghana's smallest regions, Upper West possesses immense strategic importance as our gateway to Burkina Faso and the wider Sahel region, positioning it as a critical hub for cross-border commerce under the African Continental Free Trade Area. The 2026 budget and economic policy places significant emphasis on agricultural-led industrialization, infrastructure development, export capacity building and job creation through the 24-hour economy initiative and the accelerated exports development program. The region holds tremendous opportunities in agriculture, livestock, shea nut processing, groundnuts, sorghum, millet, maize, rice, horticulture, renewable energy, and ecotourism. Our recently launched Shea Park Resource Center in the Upper West region represents a major step towards positioning Ghana as a leading producer of high-quality shea products while creating sustainable livelihoods for the women who form the backbone of the shea. Investments under the Feed Ghana program are expanding irrigation, mechanization, extension services, and access to improved seeds and fertilizer, which are meant to strengthen food security. Agriculture remains the backbone of the Upper West regional economy. Through the Feed Ghana program, government is investing in improved seeds, fertilizer, support mechanisms, mechanization, farmer service centers, warehousing, irrigation, and climate-smart technologies. We have identified a total of 50 locations for the farmer service centers, and this year we are budgeting to start 11 of them, and one of the 11 is located in the Upper West region.
Moving on, the recovery in production at Ghana's Jubilee oil field is raising expectations of increased petroleum revenues, with government and industry stakeholders optimistic about stronger crude oil output and improved contributions to the national economy. Renewed production at the Jubilee oil field is raising fresh hopes for higher petroleum revenues and stronger economic performance for Ghana. The recovery follows efforts to improve operations at one of the country's flagship offshore oil fields, with expectations that increased crude oil production will boost government earnings through royalties, taxes, and other petroleum revenues. Industry analysts say stronger output could also support Ghana's foreign exchange reserves, strengthen investor confidence, and provide additional resources for national development projects. While welcoming the improved outlook, experts stress the importance of prudent management of oil revenues, transparency, and continual investment in the petroleum sector to ensure long-term economic benefits. The Jubilee oil field remains a key pillar of Ghana's energy industry, and its performance continues to play a significant role in the country's fiscal and economic outlook. Let's go for a break. Up next is sports and entertainment with Wendy Lati.
Hi, welcome to Shiloh Guest House, where comfort meets warmth. Our serene environment and cozy rooms provides a pleasant stay. To book a room with us, call 055-5940-103 and 0241-972076. Locate us at Teshinungwa Estate, number 8 Coconut Street, directly behind A-Life Supermarket. Shiloh Guest House, where comfort meets warmth.
Welcome back from the break. You're still watching Mega News at 6 on MBN TV. And I'm Wendy Lati. Now, in the world of sports, France head coach Didier Deschamps has hailed Morocco's impressive FIFA World Cup campaign, warning that the Atlas Lions have earned their place in the quarterfinals and should not be underestimated.
France coach Didier Deschamps has praised Morocco ahead of their FIFA World Cup quarter-final clash, insisting the North Africans deserve their place among the tournament's last 8. Deschamps says Morocco's journey is no accident, pointing to their discipline, tactical organization, and resilience throughout the competition. The French manager believes a side must be at its very best against a Moroccan team that has continued to defy expectation and eliminate some of the tournament's strongest opponents. Morocco, meanwhile, will be aiming to continue its remarkable World Cup run and become the first African nation to reach another historic milestone on football's biggest stage. The highly anticipated encounter is expected to be one of the standout matches of the quarter-final round, with both nations chasing a place in the semi-finals.
Morocco have since played in the final of the Africa Cup of Nations. They're a really great, excellent team with top-notch individuals. They're not here just to play, they're here to win. They like to have the ball. They like to attack and score goals. We have to be ready, perform at our highest level, and do our best against this great team.
And now we move to the entertainment desk, where singer-songwriter Sina Soul is set to headline the upcoming Spirit Festival in Pokwasi, where music lovers are expected to gather for an evening of live performances, entertainment, and community celebration.
Award-winning Ghanaian singer Sina Soul is preparing to thrill fans as one of the headline performers at this year's Spirit Festival in Pokwasi. The highly anticipated event is expected to bring together music enthusiasts, families, and residents for a celebration of culture, entertainment, and community spirit. Organizers say the festival will feature live musical performances, cultural displays, and interactive activities designed to promote unity and showcase Ghana's vibrant creative industry. Tina Soul's appearance is expected to be one of the major highlights of the event, with fans looking forward to performances of some of her popular songs. The Spirit Festival continues to grow as a key entertainment event in the Pokwasi community, providing a platform for artists while promoting local culture and tourism.
And that's all for today on the sports and entertainment segment. Up next is the foreign news.
How do you some look fast? Mama, you again. Let's go, Yale. Look what you man, who hear me? Mentiment sent my family doctor when I'm crossing over. Share them for me. So, what was swearing? Yes, malaria. Malaria. Oh, what is it with the router? The corporate labs. A drone, a friend, router next. Yeah, come on, let it draw. And running so that trap and the draw abaso body ase wabo ruta mixture abaso ruta natural products no ne ruta mixture ya de kutia a treat ruta tonic and the ruta life for a wuru e feel sad body e feel peduemu na support immune system no ruta de obi ase FDA age dwede nkrato ya tu.
Welcome back from the business, sports and entertainment segment on the evening bulletin. On the international front, Iran has launched a new wave of military strikes after explosions were reported in the country's south, escalating regional tensions as authority assess the impact of the latest attack and security development.
Tensions in the Middle East have escalated after Tehran launched fresh strikes following reports of explosions in southern Iran. Iranian authorities say the latest military action comes amid heightened security concerns, although details surrounding the explosions and their causes remain unclear. State media reported that security and emergency services were deployed to affected areas, while officials continued to monitor the situation and assess the extent of any damage. The renewed exchange has raised fears of further instability in the region, prompting calls from the international community for restrained and renewed diplomatic efforts to prevent a wider conflict. Analysts warn that any further escalation could have significant implications for regional security, global energy markets, and international trade.
Away from Tehran, where there's tensions, judges in Uganda have pushed back against a proposal by lawyers to abolish colonial-era judicial titles, arguing that traditional designation remains an established part of the country's legal system and judicial heritage.
Judges in Uganda have rejected calls by a section of the legal fraternity to scrap colonial-era titles used within the country's judiciary. The proposal sought to replace traditional court titles, arguing that they reflect Uganda's colonial past and should be modernized to better represent the country's identity. However, members of the judiciary maintain that the titles have become well-established legal designations and that any changes should be carefully considered to avoid unnecessary disruption to the justice system. The debate has sparked wider discussions about decolonizing public institutions and balancing historical traditions with national identity. The issue is expected to remain a subject of public and legal debate as stakeholders continue discussions on the future of judicial reforms in Uganda.
And that's it for this evening edition of the Mega News. 6 live and direct from our studios on the 10th Avenue Extension, Greater Estate. Nwa Adegono. But before we take leave of you, we take a second look at the stories making headlines.
Mahama vows decisive action to minimize flooding in Accra. In business, President Mahama pledges strategic investment drive for Upper West region. And on the international front, Tehran launches fresh strikes after explosions reported in southern Iran.
Thanks for staying with us. The business news was brought to you. Details with Nadede Gogo Sports and Entertainment with Wendy Latte. My name is El Samuel. For more news, log on to MBN 360. You have a good evening.